Today we're going to look at the dues increase proposal for Dogwood Lake Campground in 2023. This will be Proposal A on the ballot, which is a 3-year dues increase. The dues increase of $50 per lot would be for the next 3 years, being 2024, 2025, and 2026. The proposal being presented for a dues increase is to raise our dues by $50 per year for the next 3 years. In 2026, the proposal will reach its maximum and will continue forward at the rate of $475 per lot per year. The proposal will allow us to meet our estimated minimum budget in 2024 with a few small projects. Beginning in 2025, we will have the ability to tackle several small scalable projects on our 5-year plan. If you take a look at our current income, in 2024, 2025, and 2026, if we have no dues increase, our income would be $121,875. So that would be the maximum amount of money that we would have to spend from our budget. Considering our current budget and forecasting future costs, we believe that our budget of 2024 would be $132,300, 2025 $141,496, and in 2026 we would have $149,159. So what does that mean? It means we're not going to have money in each of the next 3 years to meet what we think our forecasted budget would be. Basically, we are afraid that we would be short by $11,858 next year, over $19,000 in 2025, and we would be short nearly $27,000 in 2026. With our proposed dues increase, we should have enough money to meet the costs in our budget for the next 3 years, as well as have a little bit extra money to complete some small projects. Here is a detailed look at our dues increase history. You can see that from 1995 to 2006, which is a period of 11 years, our dues increased by $100. And in comparison, from 2007 to 2023, which is a period of 16 years, our dues have only increased by $50. The inflation rate of the dollar has increased significantly since the 90s and early 2000s, and yet we allowed for a larger dues increase back then than we have recently. Historically, there's been a dues increase every 5 to 7 years. Right now we're at 5 years since there's last been a dues increase. The last 2 dues increases were in 2011 and 2018. But the furthest back I could find operating budget was 2013, so we're going to use that as a basis instead of the 2011. We're going to take a look at 5 major park costs in order to see how costs have increased throughout the years at Dogwood. As you can see in this chart, the insurance in 2013 was $7,477. In 2018, it was up to $8,715. And in 2022, it was $14,671. Now this year, we just found out that our insurance has been raised to $17,482. Our electricity in 2013 was $10,517. In 2018, it was up to $11,424. And in 2022, it was up to $13,458. And we recently got word that Ameren will be increasing their rates, so it will only go up. In 2013, we spent $2,199 on gravel for the roads. In 2018, we spent $3,750. In 2022, we spent $3,295. And here in 2023, we've already exhausted our budget for the gravel for the roads, and we didn't even reach all of the roads throughout the park. If we look at the money on tree removal, in 2013, we spent $400. In 2018, we spent $150, and last year in 2022, we spent a total of $1,400 on tree removal. This year, we've had many more tree complaints, so we can only assume that that cost is going up as well. Another large expense to the park is the caretaker's salary. In 2013, we paid the caretakers $28,660. In 2018, they were paid $33,333. In 2022, they were paid $38,499, and here in 2023 it has risen to $40,500. That cost is for both caretakers. So if you consider the large amount of work that both Don and Michelle do, many feel that they are still underpaid for their services. So if we take a look at just these 5 areas of the park, you can see how much operating expenses has increased from 2013 to 2022, and yet we only had a $25 dues increase in that amount of time. The total difference of those 5 costs alone from 2013 to 2022 is a total of $22,070. Just looking at our insurance alone, it has increased by $8,766.75 in the last 5 years. And in that time, we have had no dues increases to compensate for this cost increase. These are just a few of the many rising costs in the last 5 years, not to mention the last decade, which has only been an increase of $25. How can we keep operating if we're not increasing the dues? Let's take a look at the last dues increase, which was at the 2018 annual election. The board proposed a dues increase of $100. The following was stated by the board at the annual meeting. Even if we collect enough money to meet our budget, there is not enough to maintain our infrastructure or to do any modernization of the park. During that meeting, a proposal from the floor for $25 was proposed to compete against the $100 dues increase that the board proposed. The competing $25 increase was successful and the board's $100 increase failed. Why is this significant? Because the board in 2018 felt that a $100 dues increase was necessary for the park to operate 5 years ago. Here we are 5 years later and we still haven't met that $100 dues increase that many thought was necessary back then. Even if our $50 dues proposal for the next 3 years does pass, it wouldn't be until 2025 that we would meet the $100 dues increase that the board felt was necessary way back in 2018. That's 7 years to meet what a 2018 board felt was necessary. At that rate, all we did was play catch up, and that was one of the reasons why we feel it's necessary to propose a 3-year increase. We as board members work very hard with first-hand knowledge of areas of concern and the cost to fix areas of the park, along with forecasting future cost increases. It's unfortunate that in some cases, a lot owner that has no knowledge of the current or future budgets can propose a smaller dollar increase from the floor during the annual meeting just because they don't want to pay the proposed increase. This negates the many hours of work that the board spends working on proposing a proper dues increase to reflect our current and future budget. The more time we continue to waste to get a dues increase passed, the less time we have to work on fixing other issues of the park. It was also stated in the 2018 annual meeting that if we didn't get a dues increase within 2 years, our expenses would surpass our income. COVID bought us some time, but we're now getting to that point. Even with cutting expenses and not proceeding with needed repairs, we're on track to use our entire budget this year. Last year, the board proposed a dues increase and it failed. Lot owners had many concerns, and we tried to address each of these concerns in this 2023 dues increase proposal. We were asked what our plan was going forward, so we formulated and shared our 5-year plan with lot owners. We were asked where our bids and our estimates were to show project costs. We've contacted contractors and provided bids. If you look at my previous video, you can see that. We were asked how we could help lot owners to prevent strain on their finances. So we proposed a 3-year gradual dues increase so that number isn't all hitting each lot owner all at one time. If you break it down, our dues increase equates to $4.17 a month in year 1, $8.33 a month in year 2, and $12.50 a month in year 3. We even called a special town hall meeting to answer questions that any lot owners may have. We feel that this board fulfilled what was asked of us, and we worked to aid in any concerns that lot owners had. Lot owners have expressed concerns with being able to trust the board. We represent you. If you see a problem with something that we're doing, stand up and speak out at that time. Lot owners must be active and participate in meetings and plans. If you see something wrong, say something. We've provided plenty of documentation for lot owners to hold us to. This puts the pressure on the board to complete them and stay on track, and also on the lot owners to stay educated and involved. So let's take a look at the big picture. The total dues collected in 2023 was $117,900. That is similar to some annual family household incomes. But yet we must use that money to pay for a caretaker's salary, which is actually a household income, along with the water system and the well, trash services, electricity, pool maintenance, lake maintenance, sewer maintenance, insurance on the park, legal fees, road maintenance, tree removal, equipment purchases, maintenance and repairs, office supplies, website and text services, caretaker's phone services, and much more. Imagine doing that with a household income budget. Now let's consider our reserve fund. We currently have $30,595 in our park reserve fund. This number should be much higher. An emergency situation like our well in December, which costed the park $25,000, would wipe out our reserves. We should be putting more money into the reserves annually. If 10% of our annual budget was put in reserves, we would be putting around $12,000 in reserves annually. We cannot afford to do this with our current operating budget. I think that everyone is aware of the increased cost of living within the past 5 years, and especially in the past 10 years. Doesn't Dogwood deserve to have more money invested in the park? Individual lot property values in the park have gone up drastically, yet we can't seem to get a dues increase to fix the infrastructure that houses these lots for everyone. Another thing that affects us that isn't a standard cost of living is the increase in construction material and labor costs. These costs have driven up the prices in bids and our insurance more than in previous years. If you consider storing your camper somewhere, the cost just to store your camper in an RV storage lot exceeds $600 a year, which is nearly double of what our current dues are. There are many areas of the park that need maintenance. Just look at my previous video to see a few. There are several other areas where our budget is too low, but we don't have enough income to allow more money to those line items. A couple examples include gravel for roads. Right now we don't have enough money to add gravel to the whole park. Also, Aquatic Control recommended stocking the large lake twice a year, but we barely have enough in the budget to stock it once, much less focus on stocking the other lakes. And we really need an aeration system near the beach to eliminate the muck and smelly, stagnant pond scum. But we need to be able to run electric and pay for the aeration system. Some people suggest special assessments instead of a dues increase. Let's take a look at the differences between them. A special assessment is a one-time predetermined amount of money voted upon by lot owners that goes towards a specific project and only that project. For example, a special assessment to fix the pool for $100 means that each lot must pay $100 that is earmarked towards fixing the pool. If you own 2 lots, you would pay $200. If you own 3 lots, you would pay $300. It's beneficial when a large amount of money is needed towards fixing one costly project. Now let's take a look at the dues increase. A dues increase is an increase in the annual dues or fees required to be a member of the Lot Owners Association. An increase in the dues is ongoing. If dues are currently $325, then a $50 dues increase would raise the cost of membership to $375 for the next year and each consecutive year after that. Dues increases are important to help meet the operating budget requirements of the campground. If there isn't enough money available, then it's difficult to keep the campground in operation. So let me try to explain this with this example. Let's imagine that you're a young person and you've been working at the same job for the last 10 years. And in that 10 years, you've never had a raise. But in that 10 years, the cost of living has gone up in many other areas. There's increases in gasoline. There's increases in the cost of groceries, increases in car maintenance. You have increases in car insurance. And let's say the cost of the rent of your apartment goes up, along with the increase in the cost of utilities. Now you're really struggling to try to meet your budget because all of these prices have gone up, but yet you still are making the same amount of money that you were 10 years ago. To make matters worse, you are now starting to have car problems. The air conditioning on your car went out and your tires are starting to go bald. So you decide to go to your boss and tell him about your problems. And he says, "Kid, there's one or two things I can do for you. I can either give you a $2,000 bonus right now to fix your car, or I can increase your salary and give you a raise of $2 an hour. The choice is yours to make, whichever you would prefer." Now, that one-time bonus may give you the money to fix the current problems with your vehicle immediately, but it doesn't help with all the other problems that you cannot afford. You're still facing increases in the cost of living: fuel, insurance, food, and electric. Once that bonus money is gone, you're still faced with trying to budget all the other increased expenses in your life. Your other choice, the increase in your salary, will provide you with more money for many years to come. While it may not be one large sum all at once, it can help you afford the increases to all of your other bills, as well as allow you to set aside money for preventative maintenance to your vehicle. This analogy is symbolic of our park. For years we've been asking for a dues increase in order to make up for the increased costs of everything in the past 12 years. Many people think a one-time special assessment is a better answer because it fixes a major piece of infrastructure in the park and the money must be used for that specific project. While special assessments are great for fixing a certain project, it does not help any other areas of the park. For example, an assessment to fix the pool doesn't help with the increased costs of our insurance, electric, gravel, chlorine, office supplies, or anything else that is necessary for the everyday operation of the park. It would be similar to your boss giving you a one-time bonus. It could fix that broken car AC now, but it's not going to help you with the cost increases of all the other concerns, such as insurance, fuel, rent payments, electricity, etc. On the other hand, a dues increase helps meet the park's operating budget as the cost of living rises with inflation over time. If the cost of all goods and services to the park continue to rise and the dues increase do not increase in correlation with those costs, eventually we won't have the money for the park to operate. A dues increase is like getting a raise from your boss. You will continue to receive the extra pay for many years. That money may be used towards paying any of your bills and may be saved for future emergencies. Both dues increases and special assessments are advantageous when used for the right reason and at the correct time. We decided to opt for a dues increase because our dues are essential to our annual operating expenses. Just like an average household budget, costs will increase over time, and we must be able to cover those costs. Since we don't have a solid reserve account, we must use assessments for those large infrastructure needs. A guy can drive his car without AC if he has to, but he must be able to keep his home in order first. I hope this video helps explain why the board feels it's necessary to ask the park for the proposed dues increase. It's up to you as lot owners to vote on what you believe is in the best interest of Dogwood. Thank you.